Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it. How long does this take?
Back with you here on the Morning Brew. Thank you for watching us today. It's Thursday morning, May 9th. I'm Larry Ahrens, along with our co-host Aaron Muffaletto. Our guest here at the big table is the State Land Commissioner for the state of New Mexico, Ray Powell. Ray, great to see you.
Well, it's an honor to be here with you and your viewers. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Of course.
We go way back, you and I. We've done a few interviews over the years.
Absolutely, and it's just such a pleasure to be here today. Thanks for the opportunity.
Of course, thank you for being here.
You bet.
So can you tell us a little bit, we'll just jump right into it. What does the State Land Commissioner do?
Well, the Land Commissioner position is an elected position here in New Mexico, and when we became a state, we got 13 million acres, about 12% of the surface area of New Mexico. And each piece of land is designated for one of our 22 beneficiaries. And we generate revenues for the public schools, the universities, the hospitals of the state, Carrie Tingley Hospital, the School for the Blind, the School for the Deaf, the New Mexico Military Institute, and others. So this last year, we had a record amount, $653 million from these working lands that you and I and our other citizens didn't have to pay in additional taxes, about $800 per average family in New Mexico.
So, and most of these industries on these lands are the extractive industries, oil, mining, gas, and you could probably add to the list.
Well, 97% of our revenue comes from the oil and gas industry, and we're working very hard. We've been blessed with great resources that are non-renewable, but we're working really hard to bridge now to renewable resources, and yesterday we celebrated the largest distributive solar array in the state of New Mexico on one of our pieces of land, which was an old landfill in one of our projects, the Sandia Science and Tech Park. So we're taking that energy, helping supply the company so they're more competitive. They have over 350 jobs at that facility, making world-class solar panels for orbiting satellites, and now for those arrays that are on the land. And Sandia Science and Tech Park is one of our projects. Innovation Park at Mesa del Sol. Between those two projects, it's 5,000 jobs, even under these tough economic times, that are paying significantly more than the rest of the jobs in Albuquerque. So we're really working hard not to just take advantage of the blessings we were given on the land, but reach out to our communities, help those communities succeed, because the healthier our local communities, the more valuable the adjoining state trust land.
That's great. And that's not the first time that an old mine has been turned into a solar array, has it?
No, and it's a great use of the land, because an old brownfield, an old dump, really can't be used for anything else. So you put that solar array on there and you earn more revenue, you keep the environment cleaner by using renewable energy, and you make us more competitive here in New Mexico. We've got about $1 billion of renewable projects in the pipeline for the land office, and we're really excited about using the non-renewable resources while we bridge to the renewable.
Yeah, that's great.
And do you feel like the renewable resources are going to be able to generate a significant amount of revenue for the state? Or
they will generate a huge amount over time. Won't happen overnight. And thanks to the blessings of having oil and gas and coal and potash, we have that opportunity now to take that time to bridge to those renewable resources. But we're doing something in addition to that. By using our property for commercial development, we're trying to attract the best businesses in the world that manufacture things like wind turbines and solar panels. So when somebody comes and says, we'd like to rent some of your land for a solar array or a wind turbine farm, we can say, great, let's make sure it's in the right place and the communities agree. But then we're able to say, by the way, we have some of the best companies in the world producing these panels. Don't buy your panels in Texas and bring them here. Buy them in New Mexico. Employ New Mexicans. Pay taxes, New Mexicans. Become part of New Mexico in your project.
Right. And there's this initiative I was reading about, the One Health initiative. What is this about?
Well, I'm a veterinarian by profession, and after I had the opportunity to serve 10 years as land commissioner, I was term limited out, went back to my veterinary practice, and then I got a chance for about 6 years to work for Dr. Jane Goodall, who's a primatologist that worked for chimpanzees. Yeah.
You bet.
And she has projects in 140 countries around the globe. And one of the projects that's happening all over the globe is called One Health. And it's just a simple thing: healthy plants, healthy animals, healthy people. And so meeting some of the world's experts on economic development, agriculture, education, renewable energy, we're taking those ideas and putting them on state trust lands, where when we make decisions, they're based on generational decisions versus on my political cycle. 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, where I want to end up. The idea is this is a trust in perpetuity, helping our kids. And so we've got to make wise decisions that really reflect a good economic return for our state, healthy communities, and we've all chosen to live here because of the beautiful environment. How do we protect that quality of life?
We have a map, and this is about the Community Partnership Program. And we're going to show that graphic here. It's a map of the state of New Mexico. And you see various points on the map, and these are where these projects are going on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. When I had the opportunity to be land commissioner for the first time, I realized we were being pretty passive. We were collecting checks and mailing out checks. And that, to me, didn't make any sense.
Just a landlord, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So I decided, let's work with the local communities. Let's go visit with them and say, we've got this trust land near your community. What's the best use in terms of economic return, but in terms of your vision for your future? So we've done daycare centers, senior centers, master plan communities, business parks, affordable housing, nature preserves, things that match the local communities. We just did a 1,400-acre project with the city of Hobbs for a business park. Their first tenant is a company called Jewel, and they're taking saltwater disposal, a byproduct of the oil and gas industry, which is a toxic waste. You usually have to spend money to dispose of it. They're using a patented algae to turn that into diesel fuel. They're making a product, getting rid of a waste product, and hiring New Mexicans. So that's the type of thing that we're looking for, opportunities that really set us. Why can't we in New Mexico lead the world in terms of economic development, in healing the planet, and in sending our kids across the globe, but having their companies here so the checks come back to New Mexico? And that's what the Sandia Science and Tech Park and Innovation Park, Hobbs Business Park, is all about.
Sounds like your office has been responsible for creating a lot of jobs.
We're working hard with the local communities, and it's not us doing it, it's us joining the community, joining the private sector, and working collaboratively. 20,000 acres of our land is at Spaceport, and we helped start that program when we were there before, and the hope is that'll bring world-class jobs to New Mexico to hire New Mexicans, and really result in more revenue for our school kids, which keeps our taxpayers' bills lower.
SpaceX just signed on down there. That's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
Give us an idea how the State Land Office operates as it relates to the Merry Roundhouse over there.
You bet.
Do you have to run things by the governor or the legislature when you're doing things, or are you fairly autonomous?
We're very autonomous, and as we became a state, our enabling legislation made, for statehood, made two constitutional officers, the governor and the land commissioner. What makes it so important for our citizens to pay attention to what we do at the land office, and that's why transparency is really critical, is the land commissioner can sell the land, lease the land, or trade the land without anybody else's approval.
No kidding. Wow.
And we don't have to meet any zoning or planning requirements. Well, that doesn't make sense. That's why we're working so hard to work with our communities, and we're doing joint planning agreements where we build a process that's very transparent that says, this is how we're going to do it. So we get away from the dead of night deals where pieces of land just disappear, and too often in the past it's been somebody's brother-in-law, somebody's business partner, somebody's friend that's gotten the upside instead of our kids and our citizens. So we have a lot of autonomy, but the reality is in New Mexico, you know this so well, both of you, we have 2 degrees of separation. We all know each other.
Right.
And if we don't treat each other with respect and collegially and work collaboratively and cooperatively, we don't get things done. We end up in gridlock.
Yeah.
So we work very closely with all the elected leaders in the state, and we worked well with the governor on a project bringing more land, our state trust land, into a military base in southern New Mexico, which resulted in those bases that were closing in other parts of the country coming to New Mexico. Hundreds and hundreds of new jobs here in New Mexico. So we all lose if we don't work together.
Do you like hearing from people that may have ideas for land use? Or
Absolutely.
yeah, we're going to put your website info up here in your
I
contact.
appreciate that. Some of our best ideas have come from our communities, our leaders, but our citizens as well that say, how about this?
Yeah.
And the biggest mistakes I've made as land commissioner is when I didn't consult other people and I thought I knew it all.
You thought you had the answer.
I thought I had the answer. What's important about really working with people and transparently, if it's a bad idea, it dies quickly and you don't end up spending a lot of time and energy in doing harm. If it's a good idea, it gets a whole lot better.